No matter how good your trimmer is, you're eventually gonna have to re-spool that line as it runs out. And even though Dewalt's instructions are pretty good, when you're going through this the first, second, even third time, you kind of forget how to do it because there's a gap between when you actually need to re-spool things. So I'm gonna go through this real quick in just about a minute or so and give you some best practices about how to do it with the Dewalt electric string trimmer. It's super easy to take the spool out on this. You just simply rotate this around clockwise until you see that white window. Then I grab the base and then you have to turn the spool clockwise and you can see that white window. It's hard to see on the video, but you feel a little tension and then it will pop and that white window will pop backwards and then you can just simply take out the spool. We all know this next part is the most difficult and frustrating part of the process. Thankfully, Dewalt helps us out with that because their engineers did a great job of probably watching guys like us be frustrated time and time again. So they've actually cut some relief notches where you can anchor the trimmer line after you get done wrapping it up. So one of the confusing things is where do you actually put the trimmer line in, because there's a couple of different sets of holes and it's just this one right here, guys, the one that is rectangular and actually has this little bulb behind it because that's where the trimmer line actually sets into to kind of help you get going. And it can be a little difficult at first with that first kind of wraparound, but once you get a layer or two, it just flies. Dewalt did us another favor. As opposed to just having lines or arrows, which you're like, what am I supposed to do with those? It actually gave us wording. Wind the line clockwise. So I'm going to install the trimmer line two different ways. I'm going to do one with a loose wire on whichever spool and the other one coming out of the package. Let's get this started. So you can see again, we want to wind the line clockwise. So you put the line in there and then you actually bend it backwards. Here's the tricky part because it wants to pop out of that hole. So you don't want to pull too hard. This is the slow and steady wins the race concept. See, right there. That's what happens. I was going too fast for the camera, so you guys wouldn't shut this thing off, and it popped out. So let's go a little bit slower this time, because I'd rather do this once and have it take 30 seconds than do it 15 times and try and get it done in 5 seconds each time. So nice and slow. I try and keep the line to change. I don't wrap the line around it. I move the spool in my hand until I start getting about 2 or 3 layers. It says not to overlap. Okay, so right there, I'm gonna kind of come across the top, start pinning in that feeder hole. I don't even know what to call it, but just pinning that in. And now very quickly, I can wrap that around, making sure to kind of keep it nice and smooth. And it goes a lot faster that way. And then you just lock it in that notch. That's the notch I was telling you about earlier that makes this thing not spool or unspool and just where you want to throw it across the yard because you're so frustrated. Okay, for the next side, I'm gonna get this going out of the box and find the proper hole. There it is. And again, you want to go with the hole. You want to do that. That just feels so natural, but make sure you follow those lines. So again, going super slow on that first. See, it popped out. This is the frustrating part, guys. You just got to go super, super steady and slow, and it will pay dividends. So just kind of nice and loose, give myself a little slack there. And to kind of tighten that up just a smidge. Overlap that to pin that feeder hole in again. And after about 2 or 3 around, you don't get that yanking out. And then I just start wrapping it around. Until it kind of evens with the thickness of the other one, which is probably about there. Seems about right. And then it says leave about 4 inches. Once you're there and you're kind of pinned in and you got this thing pinned like that, leave about 4 inches, and that's probably about 5. So I'll make this one just a little bit shorter. And now we have a re-spooled spool. Now that we have the new trimmer line installed inside the spool, it's time to get it in the housing. The only sneaky part about this is making sure that when you're lining up everything, you have these notches lined up with all these little white nubs. I don't even know what you call them, guide posts. And that's really about it. So slow and steady wins the race. Since I had one side that's longer, I'm gonna feed that in. I'm gonna take this one, feed that into this hole, and then kind of just slowly push down. And you can see, I'm gonna twist this around. I don't know if you can see it very well, but that line already came out of that notch. So that is very handy. I'm gonna kind of hold that tight on this side so it doesn't unspool. And then I'm gonna kind of wiggle this around. Boom, man, that sat itself very nice. And now I'm gonna pull that tight. And we turned it clockwise to tighten it. So now I'm gonna turn this counter, let me find a window for you. I'm gonna turn this counterclockwise. Boom, we're locked in, we're tight, and we are ready to go. Respooling a trimmer line is one of the most frustrating things we do when it comes to lawn care. So hopefully this video helped you out. If so, please consider giving this a like, maybe a subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it.